there, Ron Sullivan, your online hitting consultant. This young lady just finished a 14-day top hand arm therapy program, and I'm going to show you some, I think, some pretty cool results. And what's really cool about this is the video on the right is actually her day 7. It's not even the final thing. And then on the left is her before swing. And a good kid, 9 years old, learning the game. Her and her dad worked really hard in this program. And so I just want to walk through, this is a really important, it's easy for me to say, but I think it's a really important video for you parents that are trying to troubleshoot your young player. You're trying to figure out, well, you've got all these parts. And I know that, people make this into a big science experiment. And so you've got all these things to consider, right? And so the swing is usually broken up like this. Well, we got to get a lower half a little bit better. Go a couple of frames here. Our bottom hand arm, we're gonna have to work on that. I need a drill for that. Obviously, she's got elbow drag here. We're gonna take care of that. A little casting. We need a drill for that. Probably gonna get some excessive head movement because of the drag, right? And so we need a drill for that. And we need an extension drill, right? And man, it can be a daunting task. I mean, when you're looking at it like that, it can be very stressful. How am I going to get, and frustrating, especially for a kid. And Dad spends a lot of time on YouTube trying to figure out how to get all these things fixed. And so Dad has a lot of different drills for it, right? So as we work back here, let me explain real quickly that this young lady is basically working from the drill position, albeit there's some extreme differences in that, number one, what you see with her top hand arm and the bat is exactly the drill position. The bottom hand arm hasn't been on the bat for 6 days up to this point, right? So this is, I just said, hey, let's see what she looks like right now with 2 hands on the bat. They decided to just work on the technique. In other words, there's no timing move or weight shift. And they just added the bottom hand, right? Bottom hand arms now on the bat. And so as we work over here, if I was a coach that said, all right, well, I got to get her lower half's not doing enough work over here, we need a drill for that. Once we get the lower half going, then all these things are going to make a lot more sense. And in my opinion, that would be a false mechanism. And here's the problem with where we're at these days, in my opinion. For kids 8, 9, 10 years old that are learning the game, that don't have the fundamental rules down in the game, right? Then we're going to say, we need a drill for this, right? And so we're going to do everything to make this look better, right? So we're going to probably get her to lift her elbow up to her mouth or something like that, whatever the rules are for some of those guys. And this player would create a false mechanism that would look better. So she would look like she's using her top hand arm right. We would do some extension drills and get her to look like she's extending her arms better. Without any understanding or improvement in what the top hand arm's doing, we are probably creating a false mechanism. So she might be able to straighten her arms out there, but at what cost? Because if there were no improvements in just the basic understanding of what this top hand arm is supposed to do, all these things are extra. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because, it's my position now for a while that fundamentally this is the problem with young players, that they don't understand what this mechanism is supposed to do. They don't understand what this backside is supposed to do. When we start creating new rules, we just give a player different information, new information about what this is supposed to do. You start seeing from the ground up changes without, and some of them indirectly, without even working on, they're going to be affected because this has new rules and new information for the rest of the body. So when you go to here, again, there was no timing move. She's just working on the technique. So the lower half's a little bit late here, but watch what happens overall with her lower half here as she's going into the ball. Now, we didn't have any rules for her lower half here. Right? We didn't say your back leg is not clearing the way or we're not getting behind the ball. We didn't say that. And then suddenly you start seeing this position a little bit more. Well, why did that happen? Again, when your backside understands the rules, some of these things, and this is what I'm trying to stress and to you guys out there, is that a lot of the things that you're chasing as independent pieces are really products of one big major problem of a player not understanding fundamentally what the top hand arm has to do. And so you see her lower half is much more efficient. Her bottom hand arm. Now, I don't like a player thinking that their bottom hand arm has to stay bent. But I know why people go down that road is because they see stuff like what's happening over here and they go, oh, you can't do that. But the bottom hand arm, in my opinion, and I don't think it could be any more clear, 7 days later, a 9-year-old putting 2 hands on the bat, and then suddenly this result happens. The bottom hand arm should be more efficient than what it is over here on the left. And that's exactly what you're seeing on the right. When you have new rules for what the backside does, the bottom or the front side is going to respond to that better. That's just a fact. And the reason why kids struggle with this, another part of the top hand arm therapy, is not just what this is doing, but what we're also trying to combat is that young players like to use this side of their body to move this side of their body. What we learn in the top hand arm therapy is that my body's turn is going to happen. I don't think anybody would watch this video and go, she's not turning as much as she used to. In fact, most people would say she's rotating better, and that's not what's happening. But nonetheless, what happens is in the top hand arm therapy is we're trying to make sure that the player understands that the body is going to move, but it has to move as a response to something. You can't make your trigger, I'm going to move my front side to move the back side. You can't control the entire zone. You're going to drag the bat from behind you. No matter if your elbow is coming down underneath or not, you're just dragging the bat around. I would love to say that these players, they only struggle with hitting the outside pitch. And I don't think that's true at all. I think these players that are front side dominant are turning their body to turn the bat. I think they roll over inside pitches when they shouldn't have. That doesn't mean they don't run into some, right? But I think that these players are going to have a real tough time being consistent with just turning everything. So, but let's not get ahead of ourselves, right? As kids, and a fundamental rule, when they understand that the backside is generating the amount of turn, and all you have to do is go look at your favorite hitter, watch them hit an inside pitch. They got to hit it further out front. The barrel's got to get out here. And so the top hand arm, the closest thing to the barrel, is going to be delivering that. And the top hand arm on an inside pitch has to make a much shorter move. There's no doubt. It has to make a shorter move to get there, and it has to get out farther in order to get the barrel far enough out to hit the ball on the inside. That's a fact. So what's going to happen with the body in this? Well, I can't turn my body out of the way to hit this. It's definitely going to turn, but I can't turn my body out of the way to hit this because I'm going to flip the bat over the ball. That's all there is to it. So I've still got to mind the same rules. I'm going to get this behind the ball out front. So my body, therefore, is going to respond to that. Now, if this player gets an outside pitch, let's say down and away, and they let it track to here, or maybe even a little deeper, I don't know. And if you have the same rules for your body that you're going to let your front side turn the back side, then you're not going to hit that pitch. It's just not going to happen. Never. Right? So that's why a lot of kids can't hit the outside pitches, because their front side is trying to move the back side. So we got to make sure that that fundamental rule is in place. But I think that what you can see here, what I'm trying to demonstrate for you, is that a lot of things that we're chasing in terms of our kids, we've broken them up into all these different pieces, all these different drills. When they have a better fundamental understanding of what the top hand arm's purpose is, certainly I'm not trying to say they're fixed. No, I'm not saying that at all. But when they understand this rule fundamentally, then they start giving them the building blocks to, if you want the more advanced stuff, if you want it to be more complicated, then you can make it as complicated as you want. But please, if you've got young players, let them understand fundamentally what the rules are here. That we're not just spinning around, trying to drag things to the ball. Turning barrels and all that stuff is not something you want an 8, 9, 10-year-old to even have to think about. You want them to understand, look, this is a very simple process. It can be very difficult depending on which YouTube channel you watch. But, I take pride in a lot of the testimonies that I get back and recommendations and things like that, is that how simple I made this. Because I know that you dads, you moms, coaches are at home and you've got real jobs. You got real things to do. And so we try to keep the language and everything very simple so that because I know you've got to translate my information to your 8, 9, 10-year-old. And so we try to keep all this very simple. And that seems to be the best review that I get from people, is that they're like, wow, you made it so much easier. I hope that you'll reach out, player that's struggling with issues like what you see here on the left. because there's no reason for your player to struggle with this. This is just a fundamental thing that needs to be squared away. It's not rocket science. But in collaboration with me, you and I can work together and we can get your player into a better position, help them get a foundation for growing in this game and being more productive and all that good stuff. Ron Sullivan, your online hitting consultant. Thanks.